What's up, watch enthusiasts? It's your boy Skylar Santana back with another video. Now, last time we spoke about watch boxes and it being a safeguard for your watches for longevity for down the road, especially with your first piece, wanting to keep that sentimental value and being able to, prolong the performance of that watch. Another thing I wanted to add to that, just to expand on it real quick, dust, dirt, whatever it may feel like it can't get into your watch, especially if you have a screw down crown. But it ultimately dust finds its way into anywhere. So does dirt, so does grime, so does buildup, whatever it may be. This is why mechanical watches need a service over time. Normally, you'll get a buildup, and then eventually the gears inside won't be able to function the way that they were meant to function, and that just needs a cleaning, right? That service call requires just a cleaning. There may not be any particular part that's broken in the watch, but it will definitely affect the longevity of whether or not you protect your watch for an additional form by using a watch box. So if you're starting off your collection and you really want to take care of that first watch for sentimental value, I definitely recommend a watch box for that reason. Even when you're first starting off, again, if it came in like a single watch box case, you can use that. That's fine, until you're ready to get a bigger size watch box for additional pieces that you acquire. Now, I want to touch upon, when you're getting into the collection and you're looking to add more pieces and you're trying to figure out, what fits you best as far as the diameter of the watch cases or the thickness of the watches itself. You really need to start putting some watches on your wrist, and you don't want to have to purchase 10 or 15 watches to really find out what your sweet spot is and what you really prefer. There's really, you can go as big as you want, you can go as small as you want. It's your wrist, it's your money. Nobody should really be able to tell you what really, looks best for you, because that's personalized. But at the end of the day, you want to start having a relationship with an AD to be able to do those things without having to make so many purchases. And I know that can seem intimidating in the beginning as far as walking into an AD, especially not knowing too much about watches and just having that conversation with them. But, start off when you first walk in, just tell them, hey, listen, I'm new to watches. I want to put a couple of them on my wrist just to see what my sweet spot is as far as the size and case, type of bands on the watch, everything of that nature. And if there's any advice that you could give me to help me make better decisions on what watches fit, that would probably be your best bet. So I really encourage you guys, if you are getting into the watch game, to go to your local AD, try on some watches, and take it from there before you purchase watches that just don't fit, and you'll kind of make an exception for it, where later down the road you're going to say, man, I really need to wear a watch that I really feel is a best fit for me. So that will help prevent, again, having too many watches in your collection that you can't really connect to long term or down the road. So now, if you really don't have too much access to an AD or don't have the time, whatever it may be that's preventing you from being able to go that route as far as going to an AD, then buying watches online is fine as a second alternative. I started my watch journey by buying a lot of my watches online. And the biggest takeaway I would say for that, as far as advice would go, is to make sure you're sourcing the watches from a place that's going to accept returns at least within 30 days. I think within 30 days, you first get a watch, you're very excited, you have a honeymoon phase with it, you're going to wear it quite often. So my recommendation to you would be just to buy from a source online. Amazon's a great place. I think they pretty much accept anything as far as a return within 30 days, and it's pretty easy to do that return in a local, place that they accept that. So if you have to go the route of buying online, I would definitely advise, just finding a place that is going to accept returns, be it directly from a company, as long as their policy is to accept returns. You just don't want to get stuck with a watch that you're really not going to use and it's just going to take up space. And again, you're going to allocate funds towards that watch that you could have allocated towards something that you like a lot better. And, you know, you want the main takeaway is I want to prevent you guys from being stuck with a bunch of watches that you're going to have to figure out down the road what you're going to do with. Um, Another tip I want to give you guys is what kind of watch, right? So you're in the watch game. Maybe you didn't purchase your first watch yet, or you only have a digital watch or mechanical, wherever you are. Maybe you only have a couple, and you're trying to figure out where to go after acquiring some information. At a certain point, after 6 months to a year, maybe sooner, depending on how much content you're absorbing, you're ready to really buy a watch that's going to fit within the parameters of the information that you've learned over that course of time. So, what kind of watch do I recommend for a first time, watch enthusiast, somebody who's really wanting to get their feet wet and wanting to get in the game? I would definitely recommend that two main things that you should look for when you're buying your first watch is A, it be mechanical. By that meaning it's only a machine, it's only powered by, winding the watch, um, and it's fully mechanical. And B, it has a date aperture, right? It has a date wheel on there. There's a date wheel complication on that watch. The reason why I recommend those two things is that, number one, mechanical watches are more involved. So with quartz watch, you're just setting the time and you're changing the battery. And more often than not, you only have to set the time once or twice before that battery dies. Maybe a little bit more because it's a little off. But for the most part, quartz watches keep immaculate time. It's why they were invented. They're far superior than any mechanical watch can ever be accurate on, especially more towards the affordable side. But there's a reason why I'm recommending a mechanical watch, and that is, in the watch community, mechanical watches are very nostalgic. They're very appreciated by watch collectors for their history and their craftsmanship to make, right? And there's a little bit more of heart and soul in the piece, because somewhere down the line a watchmaker had to make sure that watch was running right. He put the watch together to some degree, whether it be an in-house or whether it be a factory putting it together. There's some kind of quality control there, and I'm sure there are in quartz watch as well. But in the watch community in general, mechanical watches are appreciated a little bit more for their heritage and for their pastime history. And even though they don't keep time as well as a quartz watch, there's something iconic about it. There's a certain feel, a certain attachment to that. So you'll see a lot of times, even though that there are better technology out there, right? A lot of enthusiasts are drawn to the mechanical watch. So a mechanical watch is definitely a way to go, and I would recommend that you at least get a date wheel complication. Now, obviously, this is going to be your first mechanical watch, and there's certain ways that you have to treat this watch to make sure that you don't mess up functions, you don't ruin the movement which powers the watch, um, and you're able to just function with the watch on a daily basis to extend that longevity of the watch. So with a mechanical watch recommendation, I also recommend that you get a automatic, right? Which means that it has a weight inside the watch, which winds the watch as you wear it. Therefore, you don't have to wind it every single day as long as you're wearing it. Um, and I would recommend that the watch has both. It has both a rotor, an automatic rotor that charges the watch as long as you wear it, and then you can also wind the watch with the stem, with the crown. So the reason why I recommend that specifically is you can play with those functions. You're going to be going to more of an affordable side. There are watches on Amazon. There's watches on AliExpress, especially on AliExpress. They have some mechanical watches that are $50 to $100. And in the mechanical world, that's actually a pretty good price. It's not going to be the most well built or have the crazy craftsmanship inside of it or have a immaculate brace. There's going to be factors that keep the cost down in order to make that watch affordable. But at the end of the day, it is a mechanical watch, and it is a good first place to start off, working with changing the date. With mechanical watches, when you change the date wheel, there's a specific time where you can do so without damaging the mechanism. So your watch will change the date on a daily basis so long as it's powered. And there's a mechanism inside of the movement that begins to release and start that process of changing the date wheel. Now, if you go to a quick setting in the watch and you force that, you can potentially, you know, dislodge or damage that piece that interacts with changing the date wheel. So you have to get used to when and where you can change that date and time. So my recommendation for starting off with a mechanical watch would be to get one with the date wheel so you can get used to winding the watch the proper way, setting the time the proper way, changing the date wheel at the proper time, so on and so forth. And then you're also getting a real feel of how it is to own a mechanical watch and how it feels on wrist, how it has a little bit more weight than a quartz watch, so on and so forth. And then from there, I would go ahead and start experimenting with watch bands, straps, right? When you get your first mechanical watch, you want to get it on bracelet. Bracelet's a lot harder to get after the fact. Usually the bracelet that comes with the watch, even if it's unaffordable, is somewhat decent. And you can get a feel for sizing that bracelet for yourself and enjoy it on bracelet while you first initially purchase it. And then later on, when you want to buy a strap, it's a lot easier for you to find straps like a NATO strap or a leather strap or whatever category that you want to add to that watch and just give it like a refresher, give it a different look, you know, give it a different appreciation. It's a lot easier for you to do that, you know, down the road with a regular strap. So I would always recommend starting off on bracelet on a mechanical watch that has a date wheel and that is an automatic. Okay. An automatic watch is still a mechanical watch. All that means is that as you're wearing it, it's going to get powered, right? So when you're looking it up, you know, just start searching on AliExpress, start searching on Amazon, see what you like. Hopefully by then you've gone into an AD. This way the case size makes sense to you and you know what size was really going to fit well and complement your wrist, not only with the width of the case, but also the depth and the lug to lug. The lug to lug is the part that holds the strap. So that also is going to be the furthest distance that that watch is going to be sticking out on wrist. And if the lugs are past your wrist, it's going to look a little wonky. So you'll get a better understanding when you go to the AD and you have the conversation with them and you know exactly what the measurements are, because primarily every watch on the internet is going to give you all those dimensions and give you the breakdown. Just go to the specifications, look for mechanical, look for automatic, look for lug to lug, look for case width, and then you can pretty much go from there and stay within your parameters. So anyway, that was a mouthful. That was long. I want to make my videos fairly long. I don't want to be on the shorter side. I don't want them to be too short but too long. I did realize on my last video that there was a little bit of an audio. You can see in the camera shot here that the mic is sticking out. I was brushing up against my shirt last time. But again, last I left off on my video, I was telling you guys we're looking to improve. This is the same day. This is the second shoot that I'm doing. So, you know, we're still looking to get better video by video. Anyway, guys, till next time, peace.